Katie? Okay, so what about cocaine gorilla?
Well, no, because we had talked about this was the conversation that Derek brought up before we started recording last time, which was gorilla versus shark, and we all agreed.
Polar bear,
right?
Or no, that's right, polar bear versus gorilla.
You're confusing multiple episodes. Before
that's right.
Jaws.
We were supposed to be talking about sharks, and instead we talked about literally everything else. Okay, so then what if the polar bear was on cocaine, was blind, but the gorilla was on cocaine? So we handicap the polar bear and we give the gorilla an advantage.
A bump. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, literally.
Good job, gorilla. Do a bump.
These are odd hypotheticals.
Just like, go for it.
Yeah.
They're odd hypotheticals, but I'm down.
I'm just waiting for the people at home to be like, can we just get a spin-off podcast about this?
Look,
that is,
if we can get an animal expert in here, we'll make it happen.
Yeah.
Or you'll see all the fucking viewership drop 30 seconds into this. Like, Jesus Christ, again.
all 5 of them.
Yeah.
We had 5 viewers. Now we got 3. Great.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Fuck.
Yeah, I don't. I'm just saying, I would like to see it.
Yeah,
I would like to see it. I don't know. I think you know what?
I feel like the cocaine gives the gorilla an edge.
I think a
unless
silverback
its heart
explodes.
It's definitely a performance enhancer.
Yeah, I think that we would see. I think that we would be pleasantly surprised at the gorilla.
Pleasantly surprised.
Like, I don't want to underestimate the gorilla. You know what I mean? Because like the gorillas are super powerful. They've got a lot of strength, and they're really quick.
They're related to the Rock.
Yeah,
this is also true.
Yeah, so like I don't know. I think it would. I think it would help. Derek is like the expert. Yeah, I'm just
Derek, our animal expert.
Yeah, Derek, smash cut to our animal expert.
Derek is hanging out with a fucking blind polar and a coked out gorilla.
There's a dozen studies done in the 80s on gorillas doing cocaine.
It's just Derek being like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
It's for a very important thesis. It's worth it.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, fuck.
Nice.
What do you think, Josh?
I don't know. I think it would give. I think having if the polar bear were blind and the gorilla was on cocaine, I feel like the gorilla would have the advantage because eventually the gorilla would realize that the polar bear was blind because we can't tell him he's blind. That would just be something that you'd have to figure out on his own.
I feel like
unless it's one of the sign language gorillas, but then that's an even bigger edge.
That polar bear is blind.
Yeah, he's blind. Fight. Like,
so you're the fucking cornerman of the gorilla.
Yeah. I put everything in. Yeah.
You're trying to give a fucking coked up gorilla a fucking neck massage and it just.
It's like a legit MMA fight.
Yeah. So
cornerman and rules and
I think the important question here is how long has the polar bear been blind?
Oh yeah, that's
so we can just so that way we can determine if it has developed daredevil skills.
I mean, essentially, like I was thinking more realistically, but yes, if it starts wearing a costume, we know it's blind for sure.
James is like, is it familiar with the land? Was it just did the gorilla just throw sand in its eyes? Like,
look, if we're gonna have a fucking fight, we gotta talk about it. Is it?
Bandana.
Are we gonna have it in a neutral region?
Yeah.
It has to be. The fight has to be held in a neutral region because
it's got to be like in the desert.
that clearly the fucking the desert that'll make it.
Well, I was just saying, like the gorilla's going to be used to Arctic conditions, and then you can't have a gorilla transported there, and you can't have a polar bear in a jungle. Like, so it's got to be, I don't know, like
there's no neutral there. I don't think you can find the
I just
middle
picture
one.
like the warehouse background
I think it's
of
like
a Mortal Kombat level or something.
Yeah, Mortal Kombat level. There we go.
It would
you got to have them in a
crypt.
city. You have to have them in a city.
In a city. Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah.
I think we just wrote the sequel to Rampage, guys.
I think we just wrote Rampage.
Oh, fuck.
I think this is going to be the beginning of every of our fucking episodes now.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Well, what happens if this is like the polar bear is this? Yeah.
These are the important questions.
In order to keep it truly neutral, we go back to the Jaws thing, which this episode is not about, by the way. I want to reiterate that.
Yeah,
we go back to the Jaws thing. They fight underwater. Neither one of them win because they both drown.
Oh, a polar bear can do pretty well underwater.
Yeah, that's a good
point.
Not
with weights on.
Yeah.
Not with a coked out gorilla swinging on him.
Right?
Yeah.
Jesus.
I think Coked Out Gorilla is the new movie we do.
There it is.
That's a good
We had Cocaine Bear, now it's Coked Out Gorilla.
That is a sick band name.
That's a solid
grindcore
band.
Yeah, that's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, it could be a concept album
It's
about
just
this
like
whole thing.
big boulders, coked out, and then like black metal gorilla.
Yeah, gorilla.
We'll get started on that.
Yeah. That's great.
Anyway,
in other news, all 4 members of the Creep-O-Rama podcast died doing cocaine and trying to record Coked Out Gorilla.
Yeah.
I'm excited for our legacy, guys. We're really cool.
I mean, the last episode, everyone would listen to it. That would be
Oh yeah.
Legend.
It's entirely us talking over each other because we're all on cocaine.
I'm getting a red light on my microphone. Are my levels good? Can you hear me? Is everything good?
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
Sound good.
Yeah.
You're just being way too
just having way too much fun.
Way too much fun.
You're too vocal.
There it is.
On this podcast.
Maybe
not the first person to tell me that. Shut the fuck up, Josh. You're too goddamn vocal.
Especially when you're doing all that cocaine with the gorilla.
He keeps telling the cops where we're at.
Fuck. Okay. Anyway, Paranormal Activity.
Yeah, Paranormal
Activity.
There we go. 7.5 minutes. Not bad. Not bad.
I forgot how fucking good all 3 of these movies are.
Dude, they're great.
Yeah,
they're great.
I like the third one.
I love the third one. I feel like
me too.
I was late to the first one when it came out. So everyone had said it was the scariest fucking thing they'd ever seen.
All right.
And then everyone said it was overhyped. It's actually mid. And so by the time I saw it, I was like, who do I trust? Like, was this overhyped?
Yeah.
Is it actually shit? And then at the end of it, I was like, I feel like that was good. Like, I don't, but I was still just like, I didn't know how I felt about like an ambiguous ending or not actually seeing any creatures or demons or whatever. And ghosts aren't really that scary to me usually, but this was just really effective. And then I remembered not liking the second one. And I don't know why, because I just rewatched it and I was like, no, I did like this. This was great. This was a lot of fun. Yeah. And then the third one I loved. And every time, but then I kept seeing people shit on the third one online. And I'm like,
yeah, that's
what did I miss? Like, when did we all hate the third one now? Because we got
weird
free tickets to like an advanced screening of the third one, I think, when we were in Vegas. And so we saw it early. And I was like, oh, maybe I'm glad I got to it before all the fucking film bros were like, nah, this one's shit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I dig it a lot.
Is it? I kind of wonder, as with all these fucking like, why are they bitching about it? Is it because the stars are 2 little girls?
Yeah,
maybe. Kimmy doesn't like kids, and she loves the third one.
You know what?
If Kimmy loves a movie with kid actors in it, then that means it's a great fucking movie. So
they're so good.
You
Those
know,
2 little girls are incredible.
Yeah,
I think it really does go back into what Derek always talks about is set and setting whenever you watch any of these for the first time.
Yeah,
because like I don't understand why these films in particular get such a bad rap. Like I understand, like they're not. I don't know, like. They're ghost stories. on top of being found footage. So it's like a double whammy of the typical criticisms that you see online from a lot of people. But when the first,
I guess if you go into it, like you're a horror super fan.
Yeah.
Like, if you go into it expecting it to be super like fucked up,
like The Conjuring.
Yeah,
or like that level.
Yeah, even the level of Conjuring, like not even that, like even they'll complain about that. You know what I mean?
Right.
But like, if you go, I understand people being like, it's scary as fuck, and then people being like, no, it's not.
Right.
That's fair because if you see it one way, okay, it's probably scary. I saw it in the theater before the hype had started, so I was like, I'll go see it.
Yeah, because you saw it a couple weeks after I did.
Did I? Okay.
Yeah.
Because I just saw
by that time
by myself in Fort Myers, and like I dug it, but it's a slow fucking movie.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but that's part of
it. When I saw it, it was Derek. It was whenever we were at Full Sail. So that was 2009, and it was only in like 8 cities across the country.
Yeah, right.
And
it was weird that it was in Fort Myers.
Well, no, it was a couple weeks after because
right.
We saw it on opening weekend. Maybe it had been out for like a week. And Orlando, it was only playing in one theater at City Walk, and it was only playing at midnight, and it was only playing in 4 theaters or 4 screens. Wow. So already it's a limited movie because nobody knew that it was going to be a thing. It's a limited movie. You could only go see it at fucking midnight, which was dope. And it's only 4 theaters. So whenever we got there, it was fucking packed. And we were like the last people to get tickets, like one of the last people to get tickets. So like it had this aura about it of like nobody, like even the trailer, whenever it first came out, it was mostly audience reactions.
Yeah. It just showed people getting scared.
It's one of the very first like viral fucking marketing things.
So nobody really knew what the movie was about other than it was a ghost story. So it was one of the only big releases that I've ever been to where no one said a fucking word through the whole movie. Nobody moved. Nobody did anything to ruin the experience because everybody was collectively like, oh shit, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Then literally 2 weeks later, because the week after that, it blew up. It went nationwide. And then I think 2 or 3 weeks later, I went and saw it again with another group of people. And by that time, it was completely different. The whole theater just would not shut the fuck up. Ugh. It was a complete mess.
Well, because at that point, they're going to party. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly. And then I saw the second one and third one in theaters too. And it was the exact same thing. It was just, back then it was just, 14, 15-year-old kids that every time that there was a jump scare, they would just scream like obnoxiously loud and throw shit. So it was that vibe. So
were we like that?
Together?
No,
because like every time I go to theater, I'm like, why? Like, I know I was kind of a dick 20 years ago, but I don't remember being like a complete fucking asshole in the movie theater as a 15-year-old. I feel like I still behaved myself.
Yeah, my only experiences of accidentally annoying people is with House of Wax remake and Cabin Fever when we saw Cabin Fever, because I just Paris Hilton's like the thing going through her head, and then whenever the dude from Boy Meets World crashes into the deer in Cabin Fever, I laughed so fucking hard that I couldn't stop, and everybody got annoyed with me. And I was like, "I'm sorry." It was just really good timing.
Were none of you watching the same thing I just saw?
Yeah.
Come on.
So but that's different. It was a genuinely hilarious reaction, but everybody else
as far as assholery in a theater goes, like I'll be a complete jackass up until the trailers hit.
Yeah. After that,
and even like during the trailers, like I'll like lean over and talk to whoever I'm with.
Yeah.
But as soon as the movie starts, silence.
Yeah, shut up.
Yeah.
The only time I don't mind a raucous screening as long as we're all in it together.
Yeah.
And that is so rare.
Yeah.
But exactly. Like a Marvel movie, or we saw Imaginary, after it had come out, and so the theater was only like half full, and that is not a good movie, but it is like so bad it's silly. And about 30 minutes in, we were all like, "Oh, this is this is what we've come for." Like, all right. And so anytime something ridiculous happened, we would all just like, "No, shut up!" And like everyone's laughing and everyone's having a good time, and I'm like, this is that kind of like
See, that's great.
But when that has to happen like organically, and it's so rare. Otherwise, you've got like one couple that just thinks they can be loud as shit or talk back to the characters. Like, I couldn't imagine what it would be like seeing Paranormal Activity in theaters now with what people would say to Mika the entire fucking movie.
Well, you know what?
I was saying to Mika the entire fucking movie.
Well, you know what? To echo that, I think especially these movies probably generated that kind of a reaction because these movies, especially that first one, they were gigantic. Like those first movies were massive, especially the first one.
Most profitable movie of all time.
Yeah.
Right, arguably.
Yeah.
I know that's not like
it's kind of different for this one because they filmed it for nothing. And then
but it still made almost like $200 million worldwide.
Yeah. And he spent 15 grand. Yeah, 15 fucking grand.
15 grand, and then Paramount decided to spend 200 grand after.
I just thought about this.
But what I was going to say real quick was just the tension. I don't think it pulled in a lot of normal people to go see a horror movie, and I don't think that they dealt with the tension throughout the movie.
I could see that.
It might be that we could literally trace back the modern resurgence of horror to Paranormal Activity.
I think so. Oh, yeah. I think it had a really big hand in that.
For sure.
That and maybe Saw. Because I think Saw
for sure,
that one was like the first one that I can remember. It was like a first franchise where it was every October. Cool. There's another one. I don't even care if it sucks. Let's just go see what happens.
Yeah.
And it became like a reoccurring, like ritualistic thing for almost a decade.
Yeah. We saw 5 of them.
Oh, dude, we saw all
Final Destination.
Yeah,
Final Fantasy.
No, we saw
like
Final
Derek
Fantasy
thinks Final Fantasy is scary. Good for him. I don't want to judge, but it's not what we're talking.
But no, we saw every Saw movie in theaters. Every October we I don't think we saw opening night.
I only remember 3 of them.
It is funny how it happens.
I remember all of them.
Every few years, we'll get like a slight resurgence, and they're like, "Oh, is horror back?" And I'm like, "No, this has always been the consistently profitable genre.
Yeah.
Like,
Except
you can make
90s.
a movie for super cheap, and then it'll blow up." And I think in the '90s, a lot of times they were overthinking it, or
like the late '90s, early 2000s, it definitely started like
there were some hit or misses
pretty hard. But
and they
also,
had to.
There's Jason X, there's fucking Freddy vs. Jason, there's all that shit. So
Freddy vs. Jason obviously was huge. But I think they would overthink it and think they needed to get a big star or they needed like some crazy effects or some big set piece. And I'm like, no, you just get a good, scary fucking story.
Yeah.
With some decent actors that they don't have to be recognizable. I don't need Tom Cruise in my Mummy movie. No. Just give me somebody who can emote. Like it's even easier. Yeah. It's like it's easier to care about characters that I don't recognize from fucking Marvel movies already. Like,
well, especially if it's going to be a fucking found footage film.
Yeah, exactly.
That'd be weird.
Oh my God, Tom Cruise is Mika.
Tom Cruise is the demon.
I'm like, wait, he's just like an electrician. Like that's his day job. He's a blue. No, that's fucking. What are we talking about? But very hard to take seriously.
I typically don't like found footage, and this one they did everything right. It was effective.
Yeah.
Just like. Even like the justification of putting a camera in the house was very believable. It's like, okay, like this makes sense why they're recording and why we're all watching here. Like, and the low budget, the creativity, it was just so unique. Like everything just worked perfectly. It was so effective. Where I enjoy the second and third. I do like them, but I think they kind of departed from that a little bit. They got more money.
They definitely got more movies.
Well, where the first one, less is more, and then they started to do more in the second and third one, which I have a couple of problems with it. But again, I still enjoy them. I think they're fun movies. I do like them.
What I think is really impressive with part 2 and 3 is the fact that they're both prequels and they both expand on a story that was not, this was not the story when they made that first film.
Yeah.
Right.
And the fact that they were able to seamlessly create a prequel and then another prequel to that then retroactively you can go back to the first one and it completely changes what you're watching.
Yeah.
That is really fucking impressive.
Yeah, that was cool. It's funny because watching the second one, this is the first time I've watched the second and third. And halfway through the second, I was like, I don't like this. Like, I'm not going to like this movie. And then because it was just like, oh, there's more of the same. Right. And I was like, it was slow. And I was bored and like, all right. But then, when they started to connect the dots, like, oh, fuck, that's cool. Like that, now I see what they're doing. So I really, really liked the how they tied it into the first. That was really, as you said, right? No intent of doing that when they made that first movie. There's no way.
Yeah.
In fact, I think when you watch the first one without seeing the second, when the what's the guy that comes to the house, the psychic.
Yeah, he's a psychic.
Yeah, the psychic, where he's like, oh, like the demons, they feed off of negative energy. Right. And there was clearly negative energy happening because of Mika or Micah. Is it Mika or Micah?
Mika.
They keep saying Mika, but I swear
it should be Micah, right?
Yeah. I bet they were.
She calls him
Mika.
Mika.
Yeah, she calls him Mika, but I bet it was like they were reading the script and somebody just said it and no one ever corrected it.
I think, isn't it their real names?
That's their real names.
Really?
Yeah.
He needs to change his pronunciation.
Yeah, you're pronouncing your name wrong.
And there's no script. They're like Larry Daviding it the whole fucking time.
Yeah.
Is it really? It's all improv?
Yeah. They filmed it at the director's house.
Well, the first one's improv, but the other ones.
Yeah. No, the other ones are totally written.
The other ones are where the writing becomes more impressive to me because I found myself, especially the third one, because you're now having to write around the technology, which is a very creative. You know what I mean? Because they don't have us
you're in the 80s
fucking tech for cameras and shit.
Right.
They do.
Though it is
first one was
a 1988 shot in HD handheld camera.
We're gonna look over that.
Well, I mean, and also here's my biggest one out of these three is everybody dies in that house in the end of the third one. Spoilers, but.
Well, no, just the mom.
Not the little.
Yeah, it's just
everybody of importance to those little girls died. But the little girls don't die.
No.
They're just cool with it. They were raised by a coven of grandmother Satan witches. And also, all of this being the case, why did they save the videotape?
Yeah.
That's fucked
because
up.
I caught that. This was the first time I caught this at the beginning of 3. Whenever Katie, what are their names? Katie and Christy.
Yes.
Katie brings over the box to her sister's house, and she goes, "I haven't gone through it. I got these whenever Grandma blah blah blah. I can't remember the lady's name died." So yeah. And that's what I was like. I had the exact same thought. I was like, why did they save these videotapes?
Well, I mean, there's a TDK Gold. Those blanks are fucking.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
They were gonna record over the murder.
Yeah, exactly.
Use
it later.
They were gonna film Remington Steele.
Or they just saw the footage and were like, "This is some really good stuff. We can't get rid of this." Yeah.
Maybe we could release this later, and we'll say that it's Paranormal Activity 3.
That does make there's another point to consider there where, I mean, their parents got killed by this demon, and in the first movie they're just like, what's happening? Just like noises and it's not, what is this? Like, shouldn't you fucking know? Like,
and also
your whole family gets slaughtered by this demon?
Right. I think, and then the second one they're like, oh yeah, it's that thing that happened. Like, wait a minute, hold on a second.
Because remember Katie at the end of 3 when she's crouched looking at her mom's body and she turns around and jumps at him. She's possessed.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So I think it's the demon. I don't think that they remember because the demon is kind of halfway in and out possessing them.
Is it possessing both of them or just her?
Well, just her, but the other one went along with it, so I'm gonna just apply that knowledge.
she's the real villain.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just love that they're just like so nonchalant about that thing that happened.
Yeah.
Oh, but we're not going to talk about it.
But they can't. That has to mean that they just can't remember it because.
But they specifically said we're not going to talk about that.
Well, I think that they were talking about the hauntings that happened prior to their parents dying in front of them.
Right.
See, I think they were talking about that.
Well, of course.
Well, maybe they're just still trying to be skeptic. It's just a sore subject. They don't want to talk about it. Yeah.
They remember the hauntings. They specifically don't remember their parents being murdered.
Don't remember the murder. Yeah.
Right. Well, I mean, I could buy his repressed memories, right? I mean,
for sure.
That's
they're
what I
young
figured.
enough.
Makes sense to,
Yeah, they're young enough. And, witches. Just chalk it up to witches.
True.
Satan witches, like James said.
Grandmother Satan.
Grandmother Satan witches.
Yeah.
That's the band that's going to open for Coked Out Gorilla.
Just a bunch of old ladies.
That'd be
fucking ripping it up.
They're fucking corpse paint.
Yeah.
They gotta get this corpse paint for sensitive skin.
They look like it's about to get so heavy, and then it's just like calm folk music. Like,
but it's an incantation, so it still has the same effect. What I loved about rewatching the first one, because I hadn't watched these in years, and I hadn't remembered much of it, but I had seen the discourse online about how fucking dumb Mika is and how much he sucks. And so watching it again, remembering everyone saying that, I was like, oh yeah, no, this guy does fucking suck. Like, he's an idiot. I think one of my favorite moments is when she's on the floor in the fetal position, just sobbing, and he goes to check on her, and I'm like, why do we have this footage?
Yeah.
This motherfucker went, oh my God, my wife is in the fetal position on the floor sobbing.
Yeah.
Record.
Right.
And then let me go check on her. And I'm like, put the fucking camera down. Like, what are you doing?
He's more married to that camera than he is to his wife.
Yeah. And that's why I even have a note here. I'm like, what would be worse, living with her with what she's going through, or just living with him as him, like dealing with Mika? And so I tweeted about it, and Jazz, the 40-ounce connoisseur from the Girl That Scary podcast, replied to my tweet. Because I was like, what is going on with Mika? Like, what the fuck? And she said, I would have hired someone to do a seance and just locked his ass in that house with the demon since he wanted to square up with Toby so bad.
Yeah, that's solid.
That's the only solution.
However, I will say that buying that Ouija board would have been I would have bought the Ouija board before I bought the fucking camera.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
So
it does not know how to fucking perform a paranormal investigation whatsoever.
This feels like just he wanted a new video camera, and that was his excuse. That's like some shit I would pull, where I'm like, oh, this movie's on Blu-ray, guess I gotta buy a PS5. And like, no, you don't. What are you talking about? Yeah.
But it's a gaming system and a 4K Blu-ray player in one, okay?
It's an investment.
Yeah.
And
that's the exact same argument Mika gave for the new camera.
I would be losing money if I didn't make this purchase.
Right.
Yeah. Just pays for itself.
But
Toby's gonna take this money if I don't buy this camera. We're gonna lose it one way or the other.
Yeah. You see what happened to the Ouija board? My cash would have just burned right up if I hadn't used it on a camera first.
Right.
But now I'm got good this investments. Footage. We're making a horror movie out of it. I'm being thrown against the wall.
Fuck.
Yeah.
He was just an ambitious director, dude. He's misunderstood.
Yeah. Like, as much of a dick as he is, I understand his dude. If that were happening in my house, like, legitimately, I would go off the rails because I would be wanting to investigate every little bit of it.
Well, he's skeptical at first, right? Where
right,
look,
he doesn't take it seriously at all.
No. Well, look, I fucking wouldn't either. Like, you know what I mean? I would consider myself a nice guy. I think my wife would agree. We could ask her. I think she thinks I'm nice. It'd be hard for me to not be a snarky.
She's pretty good.
Yeah. It'd be hard for me not to be a snarky dick if she was seriously like, hey, I think our house is haunted. I'd be like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, it'd be hard for me to be compassionate with that.
To be fair, I feel like that would be like a complete 180 from something she would normally say. Whereas like somebody I'm dating, I might be like, yeah, no, that makes sense.
I had that in my notes too, because I'm like, I'm skeptic, but I'm not an asshole. So I'd like to believe that I'm at least, because I'm trying to think, and we talked about this too. Like that was, I even posted on TikTok. I was like, what would you do if your partner was going through what Katie was going through? Because Kimmy looked at me and she's like, I hope you understand that if this happens, I'm out. Like, I love you, but I'm not going to fucking deal with that shit. And I'm like, yeah, exactly. If someone's like, oh yeah, there's a demon that has been like kind of attached to me since I was a child, I'd be like, oh, that sounds like a you problem. So I'm going to skedaddle. But it's been real. And that was like, I was like, what would you do if this happened? Of course, I got a few people that were like, it actually did happen. My husband was possessed and I had to do an exorcism and I don't know how to respond to that. So I just dropped an emoji.
I saw you handled that real nice. Real nice.
Yeah. I'm like, cool. All right, and then
safe space.
I said that we would put up webcams everywhere and then live stream that shit and monetize the fuck out of it and buy student loans.
Yeah.
Dude. I got loans to pay, bro.
Yeah. You pay out those loans and then die when the entity snaps you in half on camera.
We could actually start an OnlyFans because we only use fans for fucking.
It would be so much more enjoyable to watch if it was one camera, not a bunch of cameras. I don't want to see it all, right? So I want to hear you screaming in the back.
There it is.
Where
this feels like a comment on our live stream.
Yeah. No, I want that to happen so bad. You know what I
mean? You want to be in a haunted house?
I genuinely want that to happen. I mean, have I showed you guys the video of my room of the shadowy thing that happened in, like on the wall? Did I show you guys that?
No,
I don't think so. I'm trying not to be a snarky dick.
I know. Dude, I know.
Derek, my house is haunted. Justin.
Yeah. Shit, I don't know how to send it to you guys.
Josh is just like, sounds like a you problem.
No, I'm looking at all the comments. Like my friend Taylor just said she'd be sleeping on the porch.
Oh, that's a question that I have. So the demons latched onto her.
Yeah.
But you just take that at face value? Like you still don't try to get out of the fucking house? Like wouldn't you be so compelled to get the fuck out of that house? Regardless of that knowledge?
That's what I was saying. But then when he finally decides it's time to leave the house, she's like, no, we got to hang out.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, no, I'm cozy now.
If they tried to get out of the house, that would raise the budget.
Right. Yeah. For sure.
Yeah, I just sent you guys that video.
So we're looking at a haunting at Justin's house.
Yeah, so this was maybe we should have Dre like put this video in.
Yeah.
So this was July 21st, 2018. I'm on the phone with Emily, and I'm taking a picture to show her and James what I have to move out of this room. And I took a picture, but it was a live photo. And then I showed it to her, and then she looked back at it, and she was like, what the fuck is that on the wall? And so whenever you hit play, just look at the wall behind the bed.
Were you the only one in the house?
Yes.
Okay. I see a shadow.
And you see how fast it moves?
Like
like shadow speed.
Yeah.
Shadow speed.
Yeah. But the thing is,
that'll be the third band that plays that night.
Yeah. Right. So, yeah.
This is a good fucking show right now.
Shadow speed. I like that.
That's a t-shirt you guys gotta make with tour dates on the back.
Yeah.
It's on the back.
But I spent hours in this room trying to recreate that shadow on the wall. And the only way that I could do it is by getting, honestly, where I'm standing right now, or where I'm sitting right now, right here, moving that way, and my shadow would cast against the wall. So
the craziest thing is, like, you can't see obviously from this angle, but like to the left of you, is your bed, and then a giant window, which is where you would think the light source came from. But in the video, it's the opposite area that it's coming from.
Yeah. So what the fuck made that shadow?
Satan.
I don't know. I think maybe your camera was adjusting. If I'm a skeptic, I feel like.
See what I mean? That doesn't make any sense.
What model iPhone do you have? Were you in portrait mode and it was switching to Pro?
Check out this. Check out that video. One of the things that Emily did was she zoomed into every bit of the frame, and there was a lampshade against the door.
Mm-hmm.
And when you zoom in and look at it, you can see right at the tail end of the video, look at how my camera gets fuzzy right at the lampshade. So it looks as if something darted. I walked into the room and something darted towards the door where I was at. I don't know how to explain that. That's fucking weird.
Get the fuck out, bro. Why
shifting focus? I do want this to be real for you. I do. What's funny is I have my own like paranormal activity experiences, and I'm still a skeptic. So I tell the stories to people, and they're like, "How do you not believe?" And I'm like, "There's got to be a reason."
So check this out. Check this last video out. This is me. I went and stood right here and recreated the shadow. So I'm sending it to you now. So I was able to recreate that shadow, but the only way that I was able to recreate it is by standing here as a physical person,
and
standing here and moving in front of the wall.
Okay.
I want you to become Henry Zabrowski, but for ghosts so bad.
Yeah. So like that last video is me moving. So, but obviously the first video was not me moving. So what the fuck made that shadow? And what made it move? It wasn't a car.
The ghost that was moving.
Had to be.
Had to be.
I don't know. There's no logical explanation for what the fuck that is.
It's a lame fucking ghost.
Actually, if you go back and watch it and like go slow, it's kind of funny because you can see it start to move and then run. So it's almost like to like go into like a goofy ghost mode. It's almost as if the ghost was like
ghost mode.
Yeah. It's almost as if the ghost.
Nice.
Yeah. It's almost as if the ghost went, "Oh shit," and then ran.
Whenever he was like, "It's a pretty fucking lame ghost," and you were like, if you go back and look at it, I thought you were gonna be like, you can see he's not lame. He's got a mohawk.
Yeah.
He's actually pretty fucking cool.
He's got a leather jacket and shit.
So like, I don't know. Like that's crazy. So seeing something like that.
When did you get that video?
That was 2018.
2018, and nothing's happened in this house since.
Oh, there has. The first night after we cleared out this room, and then I moved all my shit in this room.
Okay.
The first night that I slept in here, my television is right there.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah.
First night that I slept in this room, it was all quiet. My door is shut. There's nothing going on. All of a sudden, I hear a crash. And I was like, what the fuck? And I got up, turned on my light. My whole TV was tipped over and smashed against the wall.
Well, not smashed.
No, it didn't break, but it was like obvious. It had a big base, so it's not.
And
like
you don't have a cat?
She was outside the other room. That was my first thought, but my door was shut and she was in the other room. So
she also isn't really a jump on.
No, she's never. Yeah, she's never jumped on anything. So
except that fucking TV.
Yeah, but no, she wasn't in the room. That was the first thing that I thought of was like, shit, did Ripley jump on my TV? But yeah, so how the fuck? That was the last time anything's ever happened. But
it's just a clumsy ghost is what it is.
Yeah,
that's why like he saw you come into the room and was like, oh shit, and scurried away.
Yeah.
And then he was trying to sneak around again and bumped into your TV. Yeah. And that's why he's kind of been laying low the last few. Okay.
That goes,
I get it.
See what happened was it did like Katie, and it was just standing there staring at you for like 4 hours, and then it fucking turned to leave and it hit the TV.
Yeah.
Probably. There it is.
So like, I don't know.
It's got a big ass.
So like I don't know. That's crazy. So confronting if somebody was like, hey, there's a demon that's following me, I'd be like, let's get some fucking video cameras and set some shit up.
Yeah. Can you introduce us?
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't think I would bounce, Josh. I think I would be all in.
I would bounce. That's what makes these podcasts so entertaining is the discourse and the hearing both sides of it. I'm still skeptic. My whole experience was just once in my mom's house, and my mom bought the house when it was being built, and it's some like suburb in Colorado Springs. So I'm like, it's not a burial ground. There was like some lot that kids used to play basketball on here, and they were mad that we built the house there or whatever. So maybe one of the kids put a hex on it or some shit. I don't know. But I lived in this house for years, and one morning I used to, with my class schedule and my work schedule was like conflicting with my mom's schedule, so I was home alone a lot of the time. And so I came down at like 11 a.m. And started getting ready for work. My mom had been at work already for like 5 hours. I go to the couch to put on my shoes, and the remote is sitting on the couch, and I grab the remote off the couch and I throw it onto the chair, and then I sit down and the channel on the TV starts changing, and I'm like, oh, and I reach down and I had just sat on the remote, and I was like, I just threw this in the chair though. I guess I didn't. And I grabbed it and I throw it back on the chair, and the channels start changing again on their own. And I go to like see if it landed weird or something, and someone was on the button, but it wasn't, just sitting right there. When I go to grab the remote, the TV just shuts off before I can like touch it. And I'm like, okay, cable box is on the fritz, whatever.
Yeah.
And as that's happening, I hear that the sink is on, which was weird because I hadn't gone into the kitchen yet, and my mom had been gone for hours. And I look over and the kitchen sink is on full blast, which I never do. And it was the hot nozzle, which I never touched because it was always, I'm right-handed, and if I'm ever doing anything in the kitchen sink, it's always just like the closest nozzle is the cold one. I rinse the glass, I'm done. But for some reason, someone had turned the hot nozzle all the way up. And I was like, why the fuck is the sink on? And I just went and I turned it off. And then I still don't believe in ghosts. So I don't know what happened, but it's I tell that story to people and they're like, what do you think it was? And I'm like, fucking weird sink? I don't know. Like, I'm still very skeptic.
A weird sink that turns the nozzle by itself.
Man. Clearly, you sat on the remote and turned on the sink.
Yeah. You don't know those Comcast Universal remotes. They do fucking wonders now. I got DVR. Yeah. I got the sink. Apparently,
I can pause the sink. I can make the.
See, my brain when shit like that, my brain goes to like you blacked out. Like you don't know.
Yeah,
you know
I probably walked over, rinsed a glass, and then walked back to the living room and just forgot that I had gone to the kitchen and turned on the sink for some reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is more believable than a ghost turned on the sink and started flipping channels.
Yeah, just to like fuck with me for 10 minutes and then never did anything else in that house again. That doesn't make any sense.
Like a ghost to me, man.
Yeah, that's a lame fucking ghost. I mean,
think about it. If ghosts were real, if we die and turn into ghosts, wouldn't that be exactly the fucking thing that
wait, hold on. Are you saying that when we die, we become ghost YouTube prankers?
Maybe.
That's fucking hell. That's hell. That's fucking hell.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's even worse because you're doing it and you have to hope somebody's recording it and getting the clicks for it. Otherwise, you're just ruining someone's
And then when they
day.
get mad, you got to be like, it's just a prank, boo. It's just a prank.
Yeah, no, you just doing your thing. You just do whatever you want.
All right.
I guess, yeah.
Unless they got
I'm thinking about it. I'm like,
ghost.
if I was moving at ghost speed, and shadow speed, I would just like stop at different houses.
Shadow speed, you do whatever you want. Just pop in, turn on a faucet, run away.
Yeah. I do have to say,
make my way to Denver.
If you're a skeptic or not, if you walk into your house and you're Latina fucking housekeeper,
part 2,
frantically smudging the entire house.
You let her do what she wants.
First off, you let her do what the fuck she wants, and then you have a very calm conversation to be like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Why do you feel the need to smudge the house? Because clearly you ain't bullshitting. What's going on?
Yeah.
What did you see?
Yeah.
All right.
I think that's what the first and second movie both had just like not great dipshit dudes in it. And the third movie finally had a guy who genuinely seemed to care and wanted to help.
Yeah.
He really tried. He really gave it an effort.
Yeah.
He didn't fucking achieve anything and died, but
No.
He died well, though.
Yeah.
Well, that was brutal.
Yeah.
I could not, honestly, the scariest part of part 3 was when they go to her mom's house and the camera is set up at the foot of their bed, and their bed, the bed to the left, is halfway in a door frame.
Yeah.
And I kept looking at that. I'm like, why would you sleep in that bed? There's not a goddamn chance in the world that I would get into that bed and have a restful or have like a good night's sleep.
Well, I was
that right behind my head is a hallway.
Yeah.
And the door's open.
I was watching it because it's a scene where they're in 2 different beds, right?
Yeah. Then she climbs in that one.
Why don't you just
go to the other one?
Move the nightstand and push the beds together.
Yeah. Or shut the fucking door. You know that the old witch lady is going to be in the hallway at some point.
I did
that's all 3 of these movies.
Your door commentary, because we don't have we can't shut our bedroom door in our.
What?
We live in essentially like a glorified studio. It's a 1-bedroom, but it's a farmhouse door, so it's just like it rolls on a track. And I mean, we could close it, but then there's also you can go over the wall into our bedroom, so we don't actually have like a firm.
You're good though, because ghosts like slamming doors, and you can't really slam a farmhouse door.
Yeah,
like
you can
that.
just like roll it. Ghosts aren't fucking with me in this place.
You just aggressively hear it rolling on the track, and you're like, fucking haunted again.
Yep.
Yeah. Right.
I don't know. I don't think I would get that scared if there were hauntings in my house. Like,
I mean, clearly, you seem pretty chill with the evidence you already have.
Yeah. I'm 100% convinced that my house is like not like hardcore haunted, but I'm pretty sure that the spirit of the dude who used, because I think I may have mentioned this on the podcast before, but my house is the first house in this entire neighborhood. The street is named after the last name of the dude who owned this house. So like it was his street. And it's like 40s, 50s. And he apparently just lived here by himself his whole life. And fucking I think he may have been gay. He got a vibe about it. I mean, there's a lot. Look, man, this was a really nice house until we got here.
Like, did you meet him? Like,
no. It's just, I saw pictures of like the inside of the house. It was just like he just clearly wasn't a fucking 70-year-old straight dude. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it was too nice.
Fair. Yeah.
He looked like he had his shit together.
Yeah.
Right.
And but yeah, I'm pretty convinced he just likes to fuck with me.
Yeah. Which is exactly what I would do if I was if I was a ghost.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
If you were a 70-year-old gay ghost in James's house, you'd just be fucking with him.
Yeah. What else you gonna do? What else you gonna do?
I don't know.
But also at the same time, so the thing in this movie, it being a demon, obviously that kicks things up a notch.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's not a ghost, right? It's a
right. Yeah. So it's a bit much.
Did they say that it's a demon in the first one?
Oh yeah.
The sidekick was the one to I think first bring that up, right?
Right. One of the things that
demonologist or whatever.
That I don't know if you guys looked this up, but in the second film, whenever the daughter opens up the door that leads down to the basement, there's a word scratched into the door, and it's I don't know how to pronounce it. It's Latin, of course, it's fucking Latin, but it's MEUS, and that's Latin for mine. So the demon, I guess, so it was scratched on the door after it pulled Donna from Sons of Anarchy down into the basement.
Yeah.
So it's a ghost mine.
God damn it. Yeah.
Going down there. Going. They had to take Donna so she could dig up ghost gold.
Ghost gold. All right. Jesus.
Anyway,
no, the second one
take the wind out of my sails.
Second one gave us the dog, which I do love. The dog. He also gave us the baby, which raises the stakes a little bit. The baby did a good job. As we were watching the scene, Kimmy's like, I just want to see whoever's like standing just out of frame, like to get the baby's attention and be like, act really weird. Like, look at me, like you're talking to a ghost. The pool cleaner was an interesting touch also, but
I was wondering that the scenes of the baby crying, like, are they just like yelling at him right before that scene, like to get him to cry? Like, how do you get a baby to cry on set like that?
You hang him by one foot upside down and just shake him a little bit.
Yeah. Or like to be ethical, you just sit around and wait until it cries. Like, oh, go.
Like, we can film it for 5 minutes before we have to feed this thing. So let's get all the crying footage we can.
Yeah.
I do love that in part 2 and part 3, they started in part 2, but escalated it in part 3. The kitchen exploding.
Yeah. That was sick.
That was so fucking effective in part 2, but then how they took that and like, just first off, we haven't talked about it yet, but the mechanism in part 3 that they developed, where taking the camera and just slowly panning it to the left and then slowly panning it to the right, can fuck all the way off. Because that was so good.
I love it so much, and the one thing that I absolutely hate about it is, I mean, it's why it works, right? Is that every shot you're like, what's gonna go wrong? Every time it starts
darting everywhere, the whole time looking for something.
Fucking
it's
good.
So good.
And they don't even do that much most of the time.
No, the only two things that happen is
fucking sheet ghost.
It's the sheet ghost.
Sheet ghost,
which sheet ghost can fuck itself. That's that was not cool. That was really good. But
if that was in your house, that's crossing a line.
Well, no, I mean, I would tell the ghost to go fuck itself, but then I would pick up the blanket and put it back.
What if it's just the ghost being like, "Yo, you need to fucking wash this,"
right? You're like, "All right, fine, all right, good call." Maybe
this was folded. You fucking
yeah. But then the next one is the mom walking back after literally just leaving the kitchen and not seeing anything. And then seeing it all levitating in the fucking air. And then crashing to the ground. Yeah. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Which tells you that it's not a single ghost. Because you assume they would have some sort of, unless they have that kind of telekinetic ability where they can.
Single ghost only has 2 hands. So you're only picking up like cups or something.
It's got to be.
I don't know ghost rules.
It's a platoon. It's a whole army of ghosts.
It's an army.
I just love
ghosts.
the idea of like some ghost dude just holding up like 2 kitchen items and then holding up 2 other ones.
I really gotta get more people. That's why it ramped up. The first one, he's like, it's just me. I just gotta do this. And the second one, he's got a friend. So it's like a couple more things. In the last one, he's like, I gotta get a whole group of motherfucking ghosts. And they're all just like, drop it all at the same time, guys.
Higher, Larry. Fuck.
Dude, I can't. I have no arms. Fuck, I'm sorry, Larry. I'm sorry.
You know what I got frustrated with at the end, and which I loved the end of the second one. I loved it. But then I was thinking, God, how many fucking times did they show the pool and nothing ever happens in the pool?
Yeah.
They showed that pool like 50 fucking times. Nothing. Who's editing this movie? Not only editing the movie, who's putting...
He fought the pool robot.
Yeah.
But
that was good.
It's an action
come out of the pool.
Yeah.
Right. So there's just funny. That was funny. But yeah, I don't know.
But
it's a weird frustration I had.
You'd think they would have done something with it.
I wonder if there was an intention, like some sort of payoff that ended up getting cut for budget or time or something.
Maybe.
You know what? That's one thing.
Because you've got a baby in a pool. That's a recipe for disaster the whole time, and nothing came of it.
I was thinking about how well written this is, and part of it is that it's not only just like well written dialogue, but they wrote this movie around the camera positions.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So like that's impressive. And then I was also wondering, like, okay, so this is not a tried and true format. So any effects ideas that you have for a normal movie might not fucking work at all in this. So I wonder if there's certain things like that. Like maybe there was a pool ghost or some shit and it just doesn't fucking land when you pull away from it that far.
Yeah. Maybe.
That could have been I mean, again, I mean, they were definitely showing you more right than they did in the first.
It's also a classic case of just constant misdirect.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
because it's kind of exactly what you were just saying, Derek, of like, you know, your eyes are darting everywhere. Immediately when I watched the first one, not having anything to like, not having any frame of reference whenever I went and watched it, I immediately started doing that.
Yeah.
And then once you start doing that in the first film, you're constantly always doing that. So
it's clear that they're aware of that because they.
Oh, for sure. That's what I was going to say.
They use the fucking.
They're playing on that
to amp that up.
Right.
Well, the first film, 90% of it's in a fucking bedroom.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which is like, again, it's impressive how effective it was. And it's kind of almost Jaws-esque where you don't see what is scary, right? Like it's all the things that are happening outside of that room, especially at the end.
You never see what's scary.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is what was so effective about it.
Yeah.
And then like that would be my criticism of 2 and 3 of just like they showed so much that I don't know if I don't know if it's too critical or too harsh to say it took away from the scariness. I feel like it kind of did.
They definitely ramped it up.
Well, the budget, right? They have more money. Yeah. So like, that's fucking
like even in the example of Katie getting dragged out of bed, which in the first film, which is fucking great. But then the next film, when Donna gets dragged, that was
a bit much.
So much more than the first one.
Yeah.
Which I liked, but it was way more aggressive and way more elevated.
It was the same scene on fucking steroids with 9 cameras instead of 1.
It's it's interesting because I feel like the second and third one aren't as scary, but have better scary moments.
Yeah.
But
they relied a lot on jump scares.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's almost entirely jump scares.
Yeah.
But also the second and third ones after the first one, and like how there's no real like wrap up at the end and like it's just open ended. It makes me glad that the next movies spend their time less focused on scaring you and more focused on building out this story. Because I mean, obviously at this point we all know like my thing is fucking stories and shit. So like I just so I love the second and third one. I don't like the second one that much because it is boring while they're telling that story.
Yeah, but, it's like the last it's like the last act of it when it really jumps up, and then you realize like, oh, the reason why it goes after Katie is because they you know put the demon on her.
Yeah,
which completely obviously backfires, and I think that next snap is so good,
dude. Yeah,
it's such a good next snap.
It's a good next snap.
The third one. I think the third one works the best for me because it's the most storytelling so far. And also it's fucking like the 80s. So just, I
don't know. And dude,
it works better not having all that tech.
Yeah. The storytelling element of when the husband gets the camera, goes downstairs when they're at their grandmother's house at the end, goes downstairs, is looking for everybody, and just the slow pan. Not even that slow of a pan, just a nonchalant tilt of the camera to go from the bottom of the wall to the mid part of the wall where you see the symbol that was behind the painting.
Yeah.
And then you look over that way, and then there's a pentagram. It's like there's no word spoken. There's no explanation. Like that is the explanation. There's nothing that's overdone. It is so just. Oh, there it is. And it's
almost like more than writing a movie, they're doing set decoration or set direction.
And they're using that to dictate how they're telling the story to you, which is real. You don't really see that very often.
It has such a like reserved way of telling story too. Like it doesn't, sometimes it straight up says it, but most of the time it's just, you're gonna see it and you can fucking figure it out for yourself.
And even in part 2, I know this has nothing to do with the rest of the movie, but as a storytelling element, when the daughter is going back and forth with the dad and he's being skeptical or whatever, and he's like, you know, why do you think it's a ghost, and why do you think it's got to be, or that she's like, you know, why do you think it has to be malevolent and blah blah blah, and then she just casually goes, what if it's mom? And just a simple question, and that was the rest. That was the end of the scene.
Yeah,
Phil gives you so much more backstory into this whole family, and so it's like you can tell like the writers really did a unique way of trying to tell and fill in gaps without spoon feeding you so much unnecessary shit. This is really impressive.
Yeah. Have you guys seen the other endings of the first one? There's 3 endings.
Yeah. I don't, because I didn't I know Spielberg had a say in what the actual ending was, because I know she I can't remember.
Well, the original ending is as it happens in the theatrical version, where she runs downstairs, she's screaming, it's off camera. He runs down there and he's like, oh my God. And then she walks up stairs. She goes into the room. She has a knife in her hand. She has blood on her shirt. And then she sits down on the floor next to the bed and she starts pacing like this back and forth.
That's right.
And then the time code on the frame is going hours and hours and hours of her just going like this. And then you hear, I think it's her sister is ringing the doorbell, and she comes into the house, finds Mika's body, freaks out, runs out. And you're just hearing this all while Katie's still just doing this. And it's like 12 hours after the murder happened. And she's still doing this for like 12 hours. And then you hear cops come in. And then the cops come into the room and she like wakes up. And she's like, Mika. And then she like charges after the cops with a knife in her hand and they shoot her.
Yeah.
And that was the original ending. And that's where I guess Paramount was like, hey, let's put $200,000 into this and like, let's make you have a demon face. And you throw Mika at the.
Well, there's another one where she slits her throat.
Yeah. So that was the alternate ending to the original.
That's right. Yeah.
Where she just, instead of the pacing back and forth and all that, she just comes upstairs
and cuts
her throat. And then,
there's a video on YouTube. Cooler than it actually is.
I like the original. I think the one with the cops and all that. I think the way that and her just it adds another 5-6 minutes to the movie.
Yeah.
Because it's just her fucking pacing back and forth for that long.
And then because I'm almost 100% sure that it was Steven Spielberg that recommended that they change the ending to what it was. I believe it was either he's friends with the director or he was.
I think he was a relationship with Paramount,
something to that degree.
Yeah.
And
that was the only CGI because the whole movie has no CGI.
Yeah,
and then that ending,
right?
Which is a split of a second. Where she just like
yeah.
Gotta leave it open for a sequel.
Yeah.
Well, that's
exactly.
Honestly,
that's probably.
I'm assuming that's why. Like, even though they don't, she doesn't have to be alive for there to be a prequel, obviously. But I think that the concept, I don't know if anybody would have gone to see the second one if she was confirmed dead.
Right. Well, it's just I guess you wouldn't have had the.
Yeah, you wouldn't have had
ending of that second of Katie getting there to kill the
and take the baby.
Right.
Take the baby.
Yeah. And you wouldn't have the rest of the franchise either.
Yeah.
Crazy. Filmed in Oren Peli's own home in 10 days. And Spielberg's idea to change the ending.
It was his idea.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting.
Fascinating.
Yeah. It's I missed I watched these movies. I mean, the first one I watched for the first time, I think not that long ago. But I remember the hype of it. I certainly remember the hype. Yeah. And I never liked found footage, man. I was just like, I'm good.
Yeah.
And it's funny that I say that because now that we've watched several on this podcast now, and I liked a lot of them. And I did.
It's such a hit or miss genre. Like,
and when it's a miss, it's a fucking hard miss for me.
When it's a miss, it's always so just boring or dizzying and rough. And I feel like it's because so many independent filmmakers are like, found footage is easy. Like this is an easy way in. Right. Like we don't have to worry about making it super fancy or set design or anything like this. We film it all on one camera and the plot can be minimal as long as we kind of give you an idea of who these characters are, but they don't overthink it. They do. I don't know what they do wrong, but every time I see a bad found footage movie, I'm like, this is why I don't like found footage. But then I see a good one and I'm like, maybe I do like found footage.
Right.
Obviously, a lot of them are trying to use this as a template to a certain degree, right? Like, oh, like we can make a cheap movie with minimal cameras, minimal sets, minimal everything. But I think what they're letting go by the wayside is like these movies balance it so fucking well. Even the first one where it's not as much of a movie as 3 where it's constant cuts and stuff, but it's fine. But like even the first one, it's using the negative space of not stuff to pull you in. Whereas a lot of it's just a lot of other like the shittier ones. It's just like, oh, here's a shot of some random shit for a little while.
Right.
Half-ass the character development here and try to build the story somewhat.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like these movies, even I mean the first one doesn't have a whole lot of plot, so fair enough.
Not at all. Yeah,
the rest of these have quite a bit of plot. It's just how do you relate that using this medium? And I don't think that. I think that most people that go into the let's fucking do a cheap, quick one-off fucking found footage movie it's not about the story, it's about the making the movie, and that's where it always falls apart because like again writing, if you don't have a fucking story,
right, all the ones that are effective are the ones that start off with a good writing, a good story, and also a good intent. Like the first film doesn't have that big of a story, but the intent is obviously there. And then you look at, As Above, So Below. That story is fucking awesome. The whole journey that those characters go on is,
but also there's not that much to that story.
No, just go into a fucking maze.
Yeah.
See what happens.
Yeah. Find hell.
Yeah.
Find hell.
Oh,
accidentally.
Shit. Yeah. Fuck. Took a wrong turn.
Cloverfield.
I would say Paranormal Activity definitely was standing on the shoulders of Blair Witch, and I think they improved on not having shaky cams. It's like, let's just have the camera fixed.
Right.
Like, we learned from
that was the pitch.
Like
Blair Witch, but he owns a tripod.
It was super fascinating because my roommate Keith he can't watch found footage movies because of the shaky cam. He gets fucking super sick from it. And I was like, I gotta watch 3 because otherwise we won't have time. So we fucking watched it yesterday, and he was totally fine until he picked it up, and he was like, "Oh Jesus, there it is!" And I was like, "Oh, that's right. There's not that much shaky cam in this because for the most part they're on something or it's just oscillating, and it's like, dude, so much of the problem with found footage is just shaky cam looks like shit."
Yeah. That Blair Witch, I honestly wasn't even thinking about that. I've seen it. I saw it in theaters opening night.
No,
and then I never watched it again.
I watched it a bunch. I remember getting it on pay-per-view and recording it on a VHS tape, and I just like watched it a bunch after that. But I haven't seen it since that one summer that I did that.
I was pretty bummed about it because I first found out about it. They were showing, this is way before anybody was even talking about it. Well, obviously not, but it was on IFC, and it was like a documentary about making the movie or something, or like they were talking about it or something. And I was like, whoa, this sounds fucking cool, because it was all like the witch and blah 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 and all this stuff. And I was like, this is fucking cool. And I watched the movie and I was like, that's it.
Yeah, that was
that's it? Where's the witch?
Yeah, I remember that theater experience being really was interesting because that was 1999.
Yeah.
And it was very similar. It was similar in a lot of ways to Paranormal Activity because it was like a collective like thing that was spreading through all of society.
Well,
where everyone wanted to see that fucking movie. They really
pushed it like it was real.
Yeah.
Especially in the thing that I watched, it was acting like it wasn't it was a documentary that these kids went and like filmed about the Blair Witch. And they really dug into it and all this stuff. And you watch it and you're like, I mean, they interviewed some people.
It was at a moment in our history where like I think is the last time you could get away with that.
Yeah. Because nobody had done that before.
Yeah.
Well, and then you barely had the internet.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like
you
barely. So there was no streaming sites
just
for
enough
sure.
internet to make the myth travel, but not enough to debunk it.
To dispel it. Yeah. It was.
I'd like to rewatch it.
I would too.
Yeah. I'd be interested in.
I rewatched it recently. It's still solid. I feel like I saw it in theaters and thought it was scary. But I was also confused because I was like, they were making it seem like this was real. I don't think this is real. Like they wouldn't put it into fucking Cinemark if those kids died. Like that's that's strange, right? And I think that's what's Paranormal Activity when it first came out. I knew people that thought it was real. They were like, yeah, it's like actual like footage of this people's house, and I'm like, no, it's not. What are you fucking? They were on Leno promoting this movie yesterday. What are you talking about?
Do you remember when all those people thought that fucking mermaid documentary was real on Discovery and like around that same time? No, man. Like there's no mermaids, dude.
Whoa, hold on.
Let's not say there's no mermaids, Derek. Let's just we can agree that documentary was not one of the real ones.
Yeah. Come on, guys.
There's still a lot of the ocean we have yet to explore, Derek.
There's probably ladies out there with flippy flaps instead of legs, bro.
Yeah, you never know.
Speaking of the shaky cam, though, I did have that in my notes that I love that the third one kicks off with them trying to make a sex tape. So I'm like, that's absolutely what a dude would do when he gets a camera like that. And he's like, oh, yeah, that's all right. You know what I got to do with this camcorder.
Especially in 1988.
Yeah. And then I love the first instance of them going way more into the special effects than they had in the first two, but the dust falling on the figure in the room after the earthquake. I was like, oh, I remember seeing that in theaters and going like, fuck, this is what we're doing now? Like, this movie's going to be scary. And it was, And then, I also want to slap and shake the hand of whoever said oscillating fan, maybe? Because, fuck that.
Yeah, they escalated the use of CG and stuff like that, but they did it in such a way that was super effective.
It's not obvious.
And even in the first one, like, fuck Mika, but his idea of the powder on the ground,
pretty
genius.
Good.
Oh yeah,
that was a good move. That was a good fucking move.
His fucking placement of that powder is dog shit.
Where else was he going to put it?
No, not where, how. You got to put it even.
Oh, you're critiquing how
like,
he
shit lines like he's a fucking coked up polar bear.
Nice callback.
There it is.
Yeah, and I got it wrong too.
No, he's not good at putting powder down. That's a fair assessment.
And in like completely different sections, like what are you doing, bro? Get your baby powder floor shit together.
Yeah, it worked though.
It did work.
Except the footprints are rather chicken-esque instead of demon. I noticed that this time.
Bro, that's not nice.
Well, I thought they were like hooves.
Well, in the
demons can have chicken feet, bro. You can't.
That's not scary.
Like
I like my demons goat-like, not chicken-like.
That's fucking scary.
I don't know. Depending on the height of the demon, I feel like chicken feet on like a 6 foot. That's fucking scary.
You've seen Jurassic Park. Seen Jurassic Park, bro.
Yeah.
That's a big chicken.
Yeah.
That's a big
turkey.
Fucking turkey disavows you.
Yeah, but there's no consistency in the feet because kind of what Derek just said. I thought it was hooves. In the powder, it's chicken feet because it's like a 3-pronged foot.
Mm-hmm.
But then when he gets but then after the door slams or he shut the door at some point, and he's looking underneath the door, you see 2 hooves like stomp in place. Those are hooves. So I don't know. Maybe he wore
there's
shoes.
More than one.
Maybe there's
Maybe it's Sam Neill and chicken feet.
He had his chicken feet, and then they shut the door, and he put his little hoof boots on.
Yeah, exactly.
And he's like, "Fine, I'm out of here."
Yeah.
I mean, look, it's a very innovative. It's a very innovative movie. I'd like the idea of like, look, we've always done goats. Let's get rid of the fucking goats. We're doing chickens now.
And then the next scene is Phillips again.
Yeah.
I
thought we said no goats. These are horse feet, actually.
He's fucking mad that he's got fucking dust all over his feet now.
Just trying to brush his feet off.
Yeah. Fucking asshole. God.
I just got these kicks.
Right. Jesus.
I'm glad that we can have these serious conversations, guys.
Yeah.
Good.
It's important.
For sure.
Yeah.
Really dealing with some of today's main issues.
Also, I think the scariest part of part 3, aside from the coven of old witches or old grandma, whatever you fucking said, James.
Grandma Satan witches.
Grandma Satan witches.
Grandma Satan witches.
They're scary, yeah, for sure. The entire playset whirling around the room, that's scary. But a crawl space in your bedroom?
Yeah.
Fuck that.
Yeah. I feel like buying the house, I would have been like, so we're going to seal that.
Yeah, completely.
Before anyone moves in.
Yeah, with concrete.
Yeah, can we just fill the entire space?
No, it's not structural. They just take that wall out and we'll expand the room.
Exactly.
Well, there's a lot of room, a lot of houses out here that have that, and it's actually fucking dope. The way they have it in that movie, yeah, like they just fucking throw a bunch of weird shit in there. But you could do cool stuff with that, man.
Yeah, you could get possessed.
Breed
demons, murder kids.
No, especially if it's a room for. If it's a room for those 2 little girls, they could add a little fucking playroom in there. Yeah. And instead, they just threw a bunch of dumb shit in there.
Yeah, go play in the crawl space.
Derek, the parent on the podcast, was like, "Yeah, you could put like a tea set in there."
Yeah, fuck yeah.
So they keep all their plushies.
Like, hey guys.
Yeah. No, we used to have the house that I lived at in in Bradenton, and then the house that I grew up in North Carolina. We had closets like that underneath the stairs. They always scared the fuck out of me.
Do you have shadows in those houses too?
No, nothing.
No shadow speed whatsoever.
Yeah, no shadow
speed.
No.
Yeah, mermaids there.
A little bit of mermaid speed.
Yeah, little bit of mermaid.
Watch this speed. What a sick drug name.
Watch this.
Hey, like you're growing flippers. As drug dealers, we do not condone the use of you using this underwater.
This ghost is going to get pissed off that we're talking shit about it. I'm going to have to text you guys at 4 a.m. like, my TV's flying
through the air.
Yeah. What a fucking mermaid, bro.
Yeah. The shadow walked across my wall super angrily, looked so mad.
Well, guys, you guys want to talk shit now? The TV hit me in the head.
Yeah. It's got delete this episode is written in blood across my computer screen. I don't know what.
I'm just mad the computer's fucked up.
Yeah.
Stop blood all over my fucking computer.
Yeah. Josh has plumbing problems and his sink's leaking and shit.
Yeah. That's exactly what'll happen. He's on his way to my place now.
Yeah.
You just hear in the background of fucking Josh's recorded. Oh, the sink's on. Nice.
Dude, a sink, I'm sorry, Josh. A sink cannot turn on by itself, bro.
That's why it was probably on. I probably just
wanted to ghost, right?
Yeah. I probably went downstairs, went into the kitchen, turned it on to like start coffee or something, and then went into the living room to put my shoes on and forgot that I had turned the sink on. I probably blacked out.
Were you in high school at this time?
No, I was like 19.
Josh, I'm here to. I'm not
doing
a doctor.
All his mermaid speed.
But Josh,
the mermaid got it. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm not a doctor, but if you have a lapse in consciousness that bad, you have a brain tumor.
I don't think it's a tumor. I am undiagnosed, but I know I have some mental
I'm pretty sure it's not a tumor, but it might be a worm.
Possibly a worm. Yeah, not a tumor.
Tumor.
Yeah, you shouldn't be driving a vehicle.
I often don't.
He didn't.
So it's fine. Yeah.
He didn't. He was sitting on a chair.
No, I mean ever since. Things
to keep in mind. But I haven't had a lapse like that lately. I don't know.
Hate that memory.
Yeah, the sink. At least the kitchen was haunted.
Yeah.
Period.
Maybe the kitchen. I'll give it to the kitchen. Sure.
Yeah, maybe
I'll give it to the kitchen. I'm not giving it to the TV. The TV.
I'm gonna talk. My mom's gonna listen to this episode and be like, she'll either text me and tell me all the creepy shit that has happened in the house since I moved out to be like, that sink and TV shit still happens like once a month. And I'll be like, oh, cool.
I'm excited. Yeah. We need to follow up for sure.
I'm like, for real. If there was a ghost that kept turning on my sink and running up my fucking water bill, especially if I wasn't home, I would be livid. I'd be livid.
Justin, you'd go get a Ouija board. I'd call a plumber.
No, I'd call a plumber first, but also to cover my bases, same time.
But he's not. What we're not telling you is that we're calling a dead plumber.
Yeah, with the Ouija board,
bro.
exactly.
Right. That's how you do it.
That's think it's haunted. Obviously, a normal plumber is not going to know what the fuck is going on.
Yeah, he's going to be
but a fucking
ghost plumber.
Ghost plumber?
Yeah,
it's another fucking band name. Ghost plumbers.
Ghost plumber and Shadow Speed are doing an off date by themselves.
Oh, dude, that's dope.
Oh, jeez.
I mean, we got a festival now with all the bands.
I was thinking about it.
One episode, an entire festival's worth of bands.
Fucking awesome.
Stupid ass ghosts.
Yeah, I think Paranormal Activity was the secondary focus of this episode.
It was the catalyst of this fucking festival,
right?
Yeah.
I'm excited for us to put on this fake festival, and then nobody shows up. We're like, "What happened?"
But there'll be a bunch of ghosts there.
You think they're going to ghost us?
Of ghosts. It's all ghosts.
Right. Nice. Oh boy.
Oh man.
That was nice.
Told you the bad puns. That's all I can bring to the table.
Look, that's all I did bring to the table for a long time.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, "Get all these fucking puns off the table. What are you doing?"
Nah.
God. Oh, fuck me.
Nice.
Well, yeah, I think that was a useful episode.
Yeah,
it was good.
Yeah, it was good.
Solid.
Oh, what are the
Oh yeah.
Fucking
Derek's like, I don't fucking know.
You have one job.
Yeah, so Paranormal Activity, first one, 83% tomato meter, 57% audience score.
Wow,
that's a drop off.
Let's open up Letterbox. I like getting Letterbox in there. Letterbox, we are looking at a 2.9.
Damn.
And then, so second one, we got a 57% tomato meter, 48% audience score. And then Letterbox.
Yeah.
Letterbox 2.6.
I wonder.
And then the third one, we got a 66% tomato meter, 51% audience score. And Letterbox, I think it's also a 2.6.
I wonder how much of a boost in the percentage the first one gets just because there's more reviews for it, because so many fucking people went and saw it and it was such a big deal.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Possible. Yeah. I see that.
Yeah, for sure.
Because that's such a huge. That's a big difference between.
Well, so for the first one, your audience score is 250,000 plus ratings.
Good.
The second one is 100,000 plus ratings. The third one is 50,000 plus ratings.
Does it say how many critics reviewed it?
Yeah, critics. First one is 210. Second one is 138, and third one's 126.
Wow.
I mean, I'm sure it's going to drop off from here, right? The deeper we go.
It's really interesting because, I feel like the storytelling aspect of these movies only got better, but it's weird that, and I guess people have this opinion for a reason, because most of the time sequels suck. Don't suck, but they're just not as good as the original. However, I think that a lot of people have that frame of mind, so therefore they automatically judge sequels in a franchise in that light.
Yeah,
but
and I would even say rightfully so.
Yeah,
for the most part,
look at how many fucking sequels we've watched and how many of them have actually been good.
Yeah, well, I mean, this first one
is coming from the Freddy's Dead Defender. So
right, but the first Paranormal Activity was the novelty of it. It was unique. It was different. It was, it just came out of fucking nowhere. I
mean, that's a huge part of it, right? It's as it goes, it's no longer new. It's no longer fresh. And every one of those movies, it gets further away from that.
So right. It's impossible to recapture that novelty and stuff.
But that's why, and I think a lot more people would enjoy film if they understood going into a sequel, you're not going to be able to recapture the magic of the first film.
Yeah.
Unless
so
it's James Cameron.
Yeah. Terminator 2 is different.
Yeah.
But it's, it's
and
like...
And Aliens.
And Aliens, yeah.
I like we went to 2 different James Cameron sequels there.
Yeah. But it's, you can't, you just can't judge it for that. Like, you can't go into in part 2 expecting the same thing as part 1, because part 1 was completely original.
Yeah.
Like,
I think that's also... You go first.
I was gonna say it would suck if it's the same thing. You don't want the same thing.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna say. Is I think that's why the James Cameron ones work so well. Is he kind of did his own thing and expanded on the story between Terminator and Alien, whereas now studios are like, no, you just want more of the same. Like, if you if you see The Last Jedi, like if you veer too off course, the fandom will be like, what the fuck have you done? I wanted to see Darth Vader again. It's like, you've seen him in 8 goddamn movies. Can't we do something with this guy now?
Right. Well, you can't please everybody.
Yeah, or like The Hangover 2, I went to go see that and I was like, oh, this is just The Hangover, but everything that happens to them is slightly worse. But this is the same exact plot.
I think Alien is a really good one to use, actually, because just seeing Romulus, I'm not going to get into spoilers or anything, but just having seen Romulus, Fede Alvarez does closer to James Cameron than anyone that's touched a fucking Alien movie since James Cameron, because it's not as... I'm not saying that it's fucking James Cameron caliber. That's not...
it's not.
But Fede told his own story within that universe, and that's the fucking thing. And that's why these Paranormal Activity ones are so good, is because like they're telling the story in that universe. It's not taking the franchise and trying to mold it into your own fucking ego-driven project. With some of the Friday the 13th, it felt like that. That was
like how we all immediately thought of Friday the 13th.
I deserved an Oscar. But like, Paranormal Activity, it's just like, no, here's this. It's pretty contained. You're just gonna watch these movies and like, you're probably gonna get spooked out and get to see a fucking fucked up story unfold as well.
It's dope.
But also, I think that a lot, especially back when they were first coming out, people weren't as attuned to long form stories as they are now. Like,
maybe
not as many of the fucking like the golden age TV shows that come out yet. I think maybe Breaking Bad.
The Shield. The Shield hadn't even come out. That was like the first
really?
one. Yeah, I think it was no. I think it was like maybe a couple seasons into it, because I think that
it certainly hadn't had the ending.
No, it was still on television. It might have been it might have been most of it.
All we had was The Sopranos.
Yeah. But it was also, you didn't, with those sequels, especially the first 3, you didn't know that they were going to continue on with the story in the way that they did.
Yeah.
So,
I have no idea what to expect on these next 3.
I will say, just to maybe warn you guys, part 4 is it's okay.
Yeah.
Part 5, they try to do something different, little bit different, but I think they bring it home in part 6.
So
I remember
6 is
really
the wrap up one.
Yeah, it's the final one of this story. So I remember like being like, okay, part 4 is all right, and then part 5, I was like, okay, that's fine, it's whatever.
Yeah.
But I remember really liking part 6.
I think 6 is the marked ones, right? I've heard. Yeah, I think I've heard everyone say that that's like one of the best in the franchise.
Yeah,
either 4 or 5 is where I stopped watching for sure, because I didn't watch.
I think it was 4.
Yeah, because I was bored.
Yeah.
I was like,
we watched 4. I think we were at Disneyland with Kimmy's family, and we had ended up back at the hotel room somewhat early. And we were like, "What do you want to do?" And the TV in our room didn't work, so we watched 4 on her phone.
Oh yeah,
because we had nothing better to do that night. Yeah. And so I was like, man, I hope this movie wasn't like amazing and we just fucked it up by watching it on your phone in a hotel with the lights on and shit. But I am excited to revisit that one, even though it is, as you said, not the best of the next 3 that we're gonna watch.
Yeah, it's got Catherine Newton in it, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, was that her first?
Yeah, it was one of her first
foray into becoming a scream queen.
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah. She's just screaming because she's an actual baby screaming.
Yes.
Sick.
I love when these conversations just close to a halt.
Just trail off into silence. Should all just sit here and stare back and forth at each other for the next 15 minutes, and then whoever's at home watching the podcast will be like, "Did my computer freeze?"
Yeah. Now we're just hanging out.
Yeah.
Now I'm just watching the background of you guys' screens.
I should have had.
I've got new background.
Yeah,
would have been great if Kimmy had come home while I was still doing this, and then just have her make a shadow appear in the background, or just turn on the sink like she likes to do as soon as we're done recording. Or just trying to make dinner. She does
turn on the sink quite a bit.
Yeah.
Well, it's because we're always recording during dinner. So as soon as we hit stop, I text her and I'm like, "All right, we're done recording," and then she comes out and starts making dinner, and it includes turning on the sink. So
I think you should just start having her come out like a minute earlier every time. A minute earlier into us recording, so that at some point it just becomes Kimmy's cooking show.
I would have it happen and not say anything about it, so that for the next 5 or 6 episodes, people are like, "Do you not hear your sink turning on its own in the background? Like we just talked about this.
The ghost is back."
Yeah.
The ghost was Kimmy the whole time.
Oh shit! Should have seen that coming.
Yeah.
He's just like, Josh. All right, I gotta go. Bye. It's a you problem.
Exactly.
Or maybe it's a you problem because I'm telling you again. Sinks don't turn on by themselves, bud.
I don't know. Yeah, Josh, I don't know. You're seeming
kind
of
they do. Have you ever been into a movie theater bathroom?
Josh.
That's all sinks do.
Josh. Let's get real here.
This was
21-year-old Josh.
Conversation is it's a sink with a sensor on it.
Right.
That's what it is.
No hands
flew by it in his house.
Yeah, that was however many years ago before those things were hugely popular. His mom had one.
Yes, I do. If it is a me problem, though, Kimmy has my permission to bail for her own safety, as we discussed. And I'm not alone in this. Like a bunch of my friends on TikTok said, "I don't think I'm sticking around for anyone that would stare at me unmoving for several hours, no matter what time of day." Hey, and somebody else said, "Kids already do that." I'm like, yeah, and I'm watching the sequels, so kids are even worse.
Yeah,
don't do that. My friend Jennifer said, "Gotta have a partner to have that issue, so I'm single, no problem." And then this is what I was really excited about, because I know I have a bunch of friends on TikTok that are poly, and so one of them said, "Well, I'm poly, so if I die, I die, but it's win-win, I guess." And I was like, yeah, I love getting the poly reactions. Like, "Hey, Bill, until this gets sorted out, you're out of the polycule." Like, sorry, I'm just gonna stick with my other partners here.
Look, you need to look. We're having a lot of demon stuff going on, and the rest of the polycule really doesn't feel like that's our vibe right now.
Yeah, get the fuck out, Bill.
Yeah,
so just get the fuck out.
We're gonna need you to stay in the shed for just a little while until you get your shit worked out.
Speaking, we didn't touch on how effective it really is in the first film to just have her fucking stand there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like, just how subtle is that? I mean, how that plays on everyone's fear of waking up or laying in bed with your back turned to the room and like someone's in the fucking corner staring at you.
And just seeing the time go for a couple hours.
How does he not sense that? I feel like I would realize my partner got out of bed and is standing there just staring at me.
I sense that whenever nobody's even in the fucking room.
I'm totally fucked because my dog literally is hanging out next to me and will not fucking bark at a goddamn thing anymore. So if somebody comes in and wants to fucking stare at me / stab me to death.
Yeah.
Bandit's just like, yeah, go for it, I guess.
Yeah.
There were a few of those answers too. Where it's like, at this point, I'm good. Like, if it takes me out, it takes me out.
Yeah, I've lived long enough.
Yeah. My friend Noel said, "How is the demon in bed? Maybe we can sort out some sort of maybe we can make this work in both of our favor." A lot of people saying seances. Somebody said, "I love my husband dearly, but if an invisible force dragged his ass out of bed and down the hallway into a dark room, I am yeeting out of that house and driving away. He and that ghost could be happy together."
I gotta say,
that's horrible.
Seances is a terrible idea. It has never done anything good in any one of these movies.
Honestly, let's be real, dude. That would be the first thing that you and I would do.
Yes, but that's because we want it to get worse.
Because you think when you do it, right. You think when you do it, it's going to be different. Yeah.
No, I think it's going to fucking be awesome.
Yeah.
Fucking ghosts and shit. Did you see that fucking shadow?
Yeah. Fuck this place up. I want to. I want to get it on video.
I want more shadows.
Yeah, I want more shadow speed.
Go to shadow speed.
Yeah,
to shadow speed.
Is shadow speed faster than cheetah speed?
Totally.
Cheetah speed.
Totally.
Maybe.
Again, I'm so glad that we can have these important paranormal investigation conversations.
These are very important conversations to have.
Yeah.
All right.
Shadow speed. Mika,